Hey wanderers, tonight we're stepping into the dusty boots of a Silk Road merchant, where a single caravan could carry fortunes and spices and secrets, where the desert stars guided travelers through bandit country, and where a well-told story was more valuable than gold. If you're enjoying these journeys across time, feel free to let me know where you're listening from, whether you're curled up in London at midnight or watching dawn break in Sydney. It's magical how this ancient road still connects us all. Now, let the flicker of your screen fade like a desert campfire at dawn. Settle deeper into your blankets. Imagine the weight of a coin pouch at your belt, and let's begin walking this path together, guided by our expert storyteller and backed with therapeutic binaural beats that will effortlessly guide you to sleep. Welcome, dear traveler. Settle in now and let your body relax into the soft embrace of this moment. Close your eyes. Feel the weight of the day gently melting away as you step into another time, another world. A world of quiet footsteps, on ancient roads, of whispered winds carrying stories across vast deserts. You are a traveling merchant on the Silk Road, moving with the rhythm of the earth, unhurried, at peace. Now, let's gently set the scene for the incredible journey you're about to embark on. This experience will carry you from the bustling caravanserais of Samarkand, guiding you through the golden dunes of the Taklamakan Desert, where time itself seems suspended, across the snow-fed streams of the Pamir Mountains where the air tastes like cold metal, and finally to the spice-filled markets of Constantinople, where 100 languages blend like incense smoke. Prepare to recall the sights, sounds, and sensations of every step of this remarkable passage. The crunch of gravel underfoot, the creak of saddle leather, and the constellations spinning above your night camp dot to fully immerse yourself where your stereo headphones. Let the sounds of this ancient journey wrap around you like a warm shawl. Find a spot where you can be truly at ease. Get comfortable, settle into your favorite chair or bed. Gently dim the lights around you, letting the soft shadows deepen. If you feel ready, softly close your eyes, letting your eyelids grow heavy. Take a long, slow, deep breath in and a gentle sigh out. Release any tension, any thoughts of the day as you get ready to drift. The desert exhales around you in a warm, spice-laden, breath-sun-baked leather, crushed cardamom, and the faintest hint of juniper smoke from distant campfires, all mingling in the evening air. A breeze, soft as the finest Samarkand silk, caresses the loose threads of your indigo headscarf and plays with the sun-bleached hairs at your nape. Around you, the caravan settles into its nighttime rhythms with the quiet efficiency of long practice. 3 tents away, someone shakes out a woven rug with a sound like muted thunder, while the lead camel exhales through its nose in a wet, contented snort. Firewood pops occasionally as hidden resins bubble to the surface, tiny golden explosions. In the gathering dusk dot, to fully surrender to this journey, let your body melt into your mattress or chair as completely as a copper ingot sinking into molten glass. Adjust your headphones until the modern world fades, leaving only the whisper of desert winds across ancient trade routes. Lower your gaze as if watching firelight dance across wind-rippled sand. And with your next exhale, release the need to grasp any passing thoughts. They'll keep moving without you, like a caravan continuing down the road while you rest beneath a date palm. The sensory world welcomes you gently, the metallic jingle of a camel's bridle being removed the familiar scent of your own robe releasing traces of every market visited this week, the comforting weight of a water skin resting against your hip. Your eyelids grow heavier as the last sunlight gilds the dunes, transforming them into a rippling sea of molten gold before surrendering to violet twilight. You are both merchant and pilgrim here. Your bundles contain spices and silks, yes, but also the stories of every caravanserai where you've rested. Yet tonight requires no bargaining, no calculations, no decisions. The road's dust still lingers in your lashes. Tomorrow's journey remains unthought, and the present moment stretches as wide and welcoming as the Taklamakan itself. Somewhere nearby, a cooking pot clangs against stone, its echo traveling farther. In the cooling air, notice how your next inhale comes more slowly now, how your dominant hand rests heavier than the other, how the desert night quietly gathers all your lingering thoughts like scattered wares and tucks them away until morning. The stars will keep watch. The road will wait. For now, there is only this perfect stillness between one breath and the next, between wakefulness and dreams, between who you were at sunrise and who you'll become when the next dawn calls you onward. The last conscious sensation is the desert itself breathing with you, the sigh of shifting sands matching your slowing respiration, the distant mountains rising and falling like a slumbering giant's chest, until even this awareness gently dissolves into peace. The day's journey melts away like honey dissolving in warm tea. The caravan slows, then stills, as merchants and animals alike surrender to evening's gentle call. You dismount with a quiet sigh, your muscles unwinding after hours of steady movement. Around you, the world softens. The camels kneel with muffled grunts, their heavy bodies sinking into the sand like ships dropping anchor. Their breath comes slow and warm, stirring the dust in lazy spirals. A fire is lit nearby, its flames flickering low and obedient, casting long shadows that dance across the faces of your fellow travelers. The scent of smoldering juniper wood curls through the air, mingling with the sweetness of dried apricots being passed from hand to hand. Someone hums a tuneless, wandering melody as they shake out a woolen blanket, its fibers releasing the faint memory of distant campfires. You settle onto a rolled-out rug, its woven patterns rough yet comforting under your fingertips. The fabric smells of sun and wind, of countless nights spent beneath open skies. A clay cup is pressed into your hands, the heat of spiced tea seeping into your palms. You breathe in cardamom, cloves, a whisper of ginger, and let the steam brush your face like a tender sigh. Around the fire, voices murmur in half a dozen tongues, none demanding your attention, all blending into the evening like instruments. In a far-off ensemble, a merchant adjusts the folds of his indigo robe, the dye still clinging to the air with its deep, earthy perfume. Another carefully unwraps a bundle of saffron threads, their crimson tendrils glowing in the firelight like captured sunset. The motions are slow, deliberate, as if time itself has agreed to linger here a while longer. The last light of day fades, leaving only the fire's glow to hold the night at bay. A camel shifts its weight with a contented groan, its long lashes fluttering shut. You lean back, feeling the earth rise to meet you, solid and silent beneath the layers of rugs and sand. Somewhere beyond the circle of light, a desert fox calls a single, plaintive note that only deepens the stillness. As the last embers of twilight fade, the desert transforms into a vast cathedral of stillness. The heat of day lifts like a veil, being drawn back, revealing an expanse of stars so thick they seem to melt together, a shimmering river of light pouring across the heavens. You tilt your head back, feeling the cool night air trace delicate fingers along your throat. The sand beneath you still holds the sun's warmth, radiating it back in gentle waves as you sink deeper into rest. A soft wind stirs, carrying with it the scent of distant salt flats and the faint mineral tang of a hidden oasis. It plays with the loose strands of your headscarf, brushing them against your cheek like a mother soothing a child. Somewhere beyond the camp, a lone cricket begins its nightly song, a single rhythmic pulse that seems to measure the passage of time itself. The camels lie in quiet circles, their long necks curved like crescent moons against the dark. One sighs deeply, its breath carrying the grassy scent of half-chewed acacia leaves. Their eyelids droop, but their ears remain ever so slightly alert, twitching at the occasional skitter of a desert mouse through the brittle shrubs. The sound is barely there, a whisper of tiny claws, a rustle no louder than a falling feather, yet in this immense silence, it feels intimate, like a secret shared just with you. You pull your cloak tighter around your shoulders, the wool slightly rough but comforting in its familiarity. The stitches along the hem are uneven where you repaired them last season, and your fingers absently trace the ridges as you gaze upward. A shooting star streaks across the sky quick as a merchant smile, here and gone before you can make a wish. But no wish is needed. In this moment there is only the cool sand beneath you, the slow blink of your own tired eyes, and the endless, patient sky. Your fingers find the familiar knots of your traveling bundle, untying them with the slow certainty of nightly ritual. The coarse hemp rope yields reluctantly, its fibers whispering secrets of distant bazaars where it once bound crates of Persian figs. As the cloth unfolds, a constellation of scents escapes into the night air, the sharp sweetness of cinnamon from Samarkand, the earthy musk of Kashmiri saffron, and beneath it all, the faint memory of cedar oil from the chest that once carried these treasures. The contents reveal themselves like old friends. Here, a square of folded silk shimmers faintly in the firelight, its blue-green hue shifting like the Caspian Sea at dawn. Your thumb brushes its surface, catching on the subtle imperfections where the weaver's hand trembled after long hours of work. Beside it rests a small sandalwood box, its surface worn smooth by generations of merchant hands. When you lift the lid, the ghost of forgotten roses drifts up to mingle with the wood smoke. From your belt pouch, you withdraw the day's acquisitions, 3 tiny glass vials stoppered with beeswax. They chime softly as you set them beside your ledger, their surfaces still dusty from the road. The flickering light catches their imperfections, bubbles trapped in the glass like frozen breath, the slight unevenness that marks them as products of a Damascus workshop rather than Venetian perfection. Yet their very flaws make them precious, each one a testament to some glassblower's momentary distraction. Your writing implements emerge next, a bronze stylus worn smooth at the tip from countless inventory marks, a cake of ink that still carries the almond oil scent of the Xi'an shop where you bought it last spring. The ledger's pages rustle as you flip to today's date, the paper made from mulberry bark so thin it's nearly translucent. You don't write yet. There will be time for numbers later. For now, you simply breathe in the story these objects tell. Not of goods bought and sold, but of hands that crafted them, routes that carried them, and now, this quiet moment where they rest beneath the stars. Your gaze drifts beyond the firelight's embrace, drawn toward the darkened silhouette of mountains that have guided your journey for days. They stand as silent sentinels against the star-flecked sky, their jagged peaks softened by night into gentle waves of shadow. The moon, nearly full, casts a silver path across the sand, a road within the road, beckoning toward tomorrow's travels. The night air carries whispers from the distant dunes. A shifting breeze brings the faintest taste of salt, hinting at the Aral Sea still weeks away to the north. You imagine the caravans moving there now, tiny specks of torchlight winding through mountain passes, merchants like yourself pausing to check their bearings against the stars. Somewhere along that route, a night bird calls, its voice echoing across the emptiness like a lost prayer. Your hand moves unconsciously to the compass resting against your chest, its brass surface warmed by your body heat. The needle trembles, slightly, as if remembering the day's journey. Tomorrow it will point the way again, but for now, it simply rests as you do, between one movement and the next. The horizon blurs as your eyelids grow heavy. The mountains seem to breathe in the moonlight, their contours softening like ink dissolving in water. The great Silk Road stretches before you in memory and imagination, the bustling markets of Kashgar still behind, the spice-scented alleys of Bukhara waiting ahead. But these thoughts feel distant now, fading like the last embers of the fire. A contented sigh escapes your lips, carrying with it the lingering taste of spiced tea. The road will still be there at dawn, patient as always. For now, the night wraps around you like the finest Persian cotton, and the stars keep watch so you don't have to. The fire has burned low now, its embers pulsing like a sleepy heartbeat. Each slow breath you take carries the scent of cooling ashes, wood smoke softened by the night's gentle hand. The weight of your body sinks deeper into the layers of woven rugs beneath you, as if the earth itself is drawing you down into its quiet embrace. Your fingers relax, still faintly fragrant with spices from earlier cinnamon clinging to your skin, a trace of cardamom lingering under your nails. The sensation fades as your hands grow heavy, resting palm up beside you, open and receptive to the night air. Somewhere beyond the circle of fading firelight, a camel shifts in its sleep, its breath coming in long, even sighs that mirror your own. The stars above blur as your eyelids flutter once, twice, then stay closed. The distant mountains no longer mark a journey ahead, but simply exist as you do in this moment of perfect stillness. The compass against your chest rises and falls with your breathing, its needle finally at rest, no longer pulled tomorrow's path. Thoughts dissolve like sugar in tea, the ledger's unfinished entries, the glass vials waiting to be packed, the road that will wind onward at dawn. None of it calls to you now. The night has emptied your mind as gently as a merchant unpacks his wares at journey's end, leaving only space, only quiet. A final sigh escapes your lips, carrying the last waking awareness from your body. The Silk Road continues and your dreams know longer a path to walk, but a river to drift upon, its currents slow and sure. The fire's warmth, the sand's whisper, the stars' silent vigil, they all remain, watching over you as you slip beneath the surface of sleep. The world returns to you in gradual strokes, like a scribe illuminating a manuscript one careful line at a time. First comes the chill, the desert night's final exhalation clinging to your cloak, making the wool slightly damp with condensation. You burrow deeper into its folds for just a moment longer, savoring this last cocoon of darkness before the day claims you. The sand beneath your bedding has cooled to the temperature of your skin, making it hard to tell where your body ends. And the earth begins. A symphony of subtle sounds begins tuning its instruments. 3 paces away, a waterskin gurgles as someone turns it in sleepy hands. The leather makes a soft kissing sound as it settles back onto the sand. One of the camels sighs through its nostrils, a long, shuddering breath that sends a tiny dust. Devils swirling across the ground. The ropes tying the baggage creak like old floorboards, adjusting their grip after a night of stillness. Now the light comes not as an invasion, but as a slow tide. It seeps under your eyelids in liquid gold, painting the backs of your vision with fire. You needn't open your eyes yet to know the exact moment the sun's rim breaches the horizon. You feel it in the sudden warmth on your left cheekbone, like a lover's fingertip tracing your face. The temperature shifts by delicate degrees, the air behind your knees growing marginally softer, the tip of your nose losing its nighttime chill. When you finally blink your eyes open, the world reveals itself in layers. Nearest to you, the geometric shadow play of stacked merchandise wooden crates casting angular silhouettes, rolled carpets standing like silent sentinels. Beyond that, the camels form a living fortress, their humps backlit by the rising sun into glowing amber domes. And past them all, the desert stretches awake, its dunes rolling like a sluggish sea after a storm. The sand changes color as you watch from pewter to peach to pale gold, as if being polished by invisible hands. The tea master begins his ritual at the fire pit. You hear the dry scrape of iron against stone as he moves the kettle, the sudden hiss when water meets hot metal. There's a particular cadence to his morning movements, 3 slow stirs clockwise, a pause, then 2 counterclockwise that you've come to recognize over weeks of travel. The scent reaches you in waves. First the mineral tang of heating water, then the grassy note of tea leaves awakening, finally the honeyed aroma of dried dates being added to the brew. Your body unfolds itself with feline slowness. Each joint protests gently your right shoulder, remembering yesterday's load of indigo cloth, your left knee recalling the steep descent into this valley. You roll your ankles in slow circles, feeling the satisfying pop of tendons realigning. The morning air tastes clean as you inhale deeply, carrying traces of last night's campfire, the camel's warm hide, and something indefinably fresh perhaps, the distant promise of a hidden oasis. A fellow merchant's child runs past, her bare feet kicking up little puffs of sand that hang sparkling in the angled light. She's chasing a scrap of parchment blown by the dawn breeze. It flutters just beyond her reach like a pale butterfly. The sight makes you smile, though you couldn't say why. There's something sacred in this daily rebirth, in the way the world remembers itself each morning. You reach for your personal bundle, the leather straps cool and slightly stiff with dew. As you unroll it, a shower of sand particles cascades. From the folds, each grain catching the light for a fleeting instant before disappearing into the shadows beneath your knees. The contents emerge like treasures from a tomb. Your brass washing bowl, its surface etched with traveling stars. A cake of lavender soap from some forgotten city. A linen towel worn thin by countless mornings. These simple objects feel suddenly precious in the dawn's revealing light. The camp continues waking around you in a ballet of unhurried motion. Someone shakes out a rug with a sound like distant thunder. Two merchants exchange quiet greetings in a language that lifts and falls like birdsong. A camel driver hums as he checks his beast's harness, the melody weaving through the morning. Air like smoke. You sit still at the center of it all, watching your breath cloud briefly before you in the crisp air, feeling the sun's warmth gradually penetrate your layers of clothing. This is the gift of dawn on the Silk Road, not just light, but the revelation of connection. The way your breath syncs with the sleeping camel's ribs rising and falling nearby. How the steam from your tea joins the morning mist rising from the distant salt flats. The realization that your hands, weathered by miles of travel, mirror the cracked patterns of the desert floor beneath you. Everything exists in delicate relation, and for this suspended moment before the day's journey begins, you remember your place in the great web of moving things. The tea master's call echoes through camp, a soft clinking of porcelain cups that draws everyone toward the fire like moths to gentle flame. You accept the steaming cup with both hands, feeling its warmth penetrate straight through to your bones. The first sip blooms across your tongue, bitter green tea leaves mellowed by honey from bulk, with the faintest floral aftertaste of rosewater. Tiny flecks of saffron float on the surface like captured sunlight. Breakfast unfolds with the quiet ceremony of daily devotion. Your knife saws through a round of dense bread, releasing puffs of flour that catch in the morning light. The crust crackles satisfyingly between your teeth, giving way to a dense, chewy interior still warm from last night's oven. You dip a corner into precious sesame oil, watching the golden liquid soak into the porous surface like water disappearing. Into sand, your packing ritual begins with the careful rolling of bedding. The wool blankets resist at first, still holding the shape of your sleeping form, but gradually yield to your ministrations. As you fold, a shower of sand particles escapes the fibers, each grain a tiny memory of yesterday's travels. The rhythmic motions, shake, fold, press, become a meditation as the camp's morning sounds swirl around you. The merchandise requires special attention. You run your hands along each bolt of silk, checking for any moisture that might have crept in during the night. The fabrics whisper as they're carefully wrapped in oiled cloth. Raw Chinese silk with its irregular nubs, smooth Persian satin that flows like water through your fingers. A small stoppered vial of cloves goes into your belt pouch, its sharp scent cutting through the morning haze whenever you move. Nearby, the cameleers work in silent synchrony. You watch as they lift the heavy wooden saddles with practiced ease, their hands moving like separate creatures, one adjusting straps while the other soothes the animals with palmfuls of crushed barley. The camels complain with deep-throated groans, their breath steaming in the cool air. As they reluctantly kneel for loading. Your fingers pause as you tie the final knot on your bundle. The hemp rope feels different this morning, slightly stiff with the desert's nightly exhalation. You work it between your fingers until it softens, remembering the old Uyghur trader who taught you this trick years ago. His voice comes back to you suddenly clear. A good merchant cares for his tools as he cares for his own hands. The camp transforms around you as belongings find their places. A rolled carpet is hoisted onto a camel's back, its intricate patterns disappearing under protective canvas. Bronze scales wink in the sunlight as they're packed away, their pans folding together like praying hands. Someone's prayer beads click softly as they're counted into a velvet pouch. You catch glimpses of lapis lazuli and carnelian before they vanish from view. Your morning ablutions come last. The water in your brass basin is shockingly cold, carrying the memory of mountain springs. It rushes over your face in liquid silver, shocking sleep from your pores. As you dry with a sun-bleached linen cloth, you catch your reflection in the polished metal, a face weathered by desert winds, eyes crinkled from squinting at horizons, but somehow softer in this morning light. The fire has burned down to glowing embers now, but its warmth lingers in the stones surrounding it. You press your palms against one that's still faintly warm, feeling its heat seep into your skin. This simple contact grounds you, a final moment of stillness before the journey begins anew. Around you, the last packing sounds grow more purposeful. Buckles snapping shut, final bundles being secured, quiet voices calling checks to one another. You take one last look at the campsite, already being reclaimed by the desert. Only the faintest impressions in the sand show where bodies rested. The fire pit's stones will cool by midday. By tomorrow, even these slight marks will be gone, erased by the ever-shifting dunes. This thought doesn't sadden you, it's the nature of the road. Like the caravans, even memories must keep moving. The first steps of the day's journey begin with the earth's quiet, benediction sand shifting like a living thing beneath your feet, adjusting to your weight with a sigh. Your body remembers this rhythm before your mind does, the slight forward lean, the rolling gait that keeps you balanced on uncertain terrain. The camels groan as they rise, their knees unfolding like ancient wooden machinery, their loads swaying gently as they find equilibrium. The morning air is still cool enough to raise goosebumps on your arms, but you know this reprieve won't last. For now, though, it carries the scent of waking earth-dried sage, sun-warmed stone, and the faintest hint of moisture from some hidden crevice in the rocks. The path ahead is a pale ribbon unfurling between dunes, its surface imprinted with the passage of countless travelers before you. Some marks are fresh, the deep, deliberate prints of your own caravan, while others are little more than ghosts of journeys past, barely visible depressions that the wind hasn't yet erased. The sun climbs higher, its light transforming the desert into a mosaic of gold and shadow. The dunes ripple like frozen waves, their crests sharp enough to cut the sky, their leeward sides soft and sloping. Your shadow stretches long before you, a silent companion keeping pace with every step. Occasionally, a gust of wind sends a veil of sand skimming across the ground, its movement so fluid it seems the desert itself is breathing. The caravan moves as a single organism, a slow, sinuous creature winding through the landscape. At the front, the lead camel's bell tolls softly with each step, a sound so constant it becomes part of your pulse. Behind you, the murmur of voices blends with the creak of harnesses and the occasional snort of a camel. No one speaks loudly. There's no need. The road demands a kind of quiet reverence, as if anything too jarring might disturb. A delicate balance between earth and sky dot. Your fingers find the beads in your pocket again, rolling them absently as you walk. The rhythm matches your footsteps, one bead, one step, one breath. The repetition is hypnotic, lulling your thoughts into a pleasant haze. The concerns of the camp, the unpacked ledger, the unfinished tea feel distant now, blurred by the steady motion of travel. There is only this, the crunch of sand underfoot, the sway of your robe against your calves, the weight of the sun on your shoulders. Dot around midday, the landscape begins to shift. The dunes give way to hard-packed earth strewn with pebbles that click together underfoot like tiny castanets. The air smells different. Here less of dust and more of something mineral, as if you're walking across the bones of the earth itself. In the distance, a line of dark stones rises from the plain, like the ruins of some forgotten city. They'll make a good resting place when the sun grows too fierce. For now, though, the walking continues, effortless as a dream. Your body has settled into its pace, your muscles warm and loose. The road stretches ahead, shimmering slightly in. The heat, but you don't think about how far there is to go. There's only the next step, and the next, each one carrying you deeper into the day, into the silence, into the heart of the journey itself. The sun reaches its zenith, in a blaze of white fire, pressing down on the caravan like a physical weight. The stones ahead shimmer like water, a cruel mirage that dissolves as you approach. The lead camel slows, then stops, its bell falling silent as it turns its head expectantly toward the camel ear. No command is spoken, but the message passes through the caravan like a sigh of relief. It's time to rest. You sink gratefully into the shade of an overhanging rock, its surface pockmarked by centuries of wind. The stone feels alive beneath your touch, still cool from the night's memory, though the sun has been beating against its opposite face for hours. As you lean back, the rock's uneven surface presses into your spine in just the right places, as if it was shaped for this exact moment of respite. The water skin makes a sloshing music as you uncork it. The first mouthful is almost painfully cold, having been wrapped in damp wool all morning. It floods your mouth with the taste of high mountain snow, carrying echoes of pine forests and granite peaks far behind you now. You take a second sip, then a third, feeling the liquid trace a cool path down to your stomach. Around you, the caravan settles into the rhythm of midday rest. Someone unwraps a cloth bundle to reveal flatbread and salty cheese. The scent makes your stomach growl, though you're in no hurry to eat. There's luxury in this slow unfolding, in watching the cheese soften in the heat before spreading it, and tearing the bread with your fingers rather than biting. Each small action becomes a meditation. A faint breeze stirs, carrying with it the scent of warm leather and sun-baked stone. It plays with the loose threads of your headscarf, brushing them against your neck in a whisper of touch. You close your eyes, not to sleep, but to better feel the world around you, the rough texture of the rock beneath your palms, the distant call of a desert hawk, the steady rhythm of your own heartbeat slowing to match the pace of the afternoon. Time stretches like the shadows around you. The heat makes thought difficult, and you're grateful for it. There's no room here for worries about tomorrow's route or yesterday's trades. The sun has burned everything down to essentials. The weight of your body against the earth, the taste of water on your tongue, the shared silence of travelers at rest. Somewhere nearby, a camel exhales through its nose in a long, wet snort. The sound makes you smile without opening your eyes. You know this moment won't last soon. The camel ears will stir, the packs will be retied, the road will call again. But for now, there's only this perfect suspension between journeys, this gift of stillness at the heart of the day's heat. The rock's shadow shrinks by imperceptible degrees, its cool edge retreating like a tide. You watch a single bead of sweat trace its slow path down your forearm, pausing at your wrist before dropping to the thirsty earth. This is the signal you've been waiting for. With movements softened by heat, you gather your belongings. The water. Skin has grown warm now, its surface slick with condensation. Your fingers leave damp prints on the leather as you secure it to your belt. The bread's crumbs cling stubbornly to your robe, rushing away in tiny golden showers. A camel bell rings, once clear as a temple chime in the heavy air, then again. Then the familiar rhythm resumes. No words are needed. The road is calling you back. The sun begins its retreat like a merchant closing shop for the day, unhurried, methodical, folding its golden wares with care. You notice the change first in the quality of the light. What was once sharp and insistent now slants across the desert at a forgiving angle, gilding every pebble and scrub brush with a warm, forgiving glow. The shadows stretch long across the trail, their edges blurred by the day's accumulated heat, rising from the sand dot your footsteps, slow, almost imperceptibly. Your body instinctively matching its rhythm to the sun's languid pace. The air begins to lose its knife-edge sharpness, becoming softer, more breathable. You catch the first hint of evening's signature scent, that elusive mixture of cooling stone and awakening. Vegetation as hidden plants unclench their leaves from the day's heat. Ahead, the lead camel's bell takes on a different tone, deeper, more resonant in the thickening air. Its sound travels farther now, bouncing off distant rock faces and faint echoes that return to you like whispered secrets. The caravan's dust hangs suspended in the angled light, each particle glowing briefly before settling to earth. Your hands, which had been clutching your robe against the afternoon's heat, now relax at your sides. The fabric brushes against your fingertips with every step, a soothing, repetitive touch like the lap of gentle waves. You noticed a slight stiffness in your shoulders beginning to melt away, carried off by the evening breeze that now whispers. Promises of rest dot the colors around you, deepen like dye soaking into cloth. The sky transforms from harsh blue to a softer periwinkle, while the distant mountains take on a violet hue. Even the sand changes character, its golden tones mellowing to ochre as the light grows richer. Your eyes, no longer squinting against the glare, can finally appreciate the landscape's subtle beauty, the delicate patterns left by desert rodents, the way certain rocks seem to glow from within in this light. Your breathing slows to match the evening's pace. Each inhale carries traces of the coming night, the mineral scent of dew beginning to form on stones, the faint wood smoke from unseen camps miles ahead. The air feels cooler in your lungs now, a relief after the day's heat. With each exhale, you feel some remaining tension leave your body, dissipating into the violet-hued twilight dot as the first star appears, a single bold point of light in the not yet dark sky. You realize your feet have automatically followed the caravan into a sheltered gully. The evening's transition has been so gradual, so natural, that you've moved from walking to resting without conscious decision. The body knows its rhythms, just as the desert knows when to release the day's heat to the sky. Around you, the unpacking begins with quiet efficiency. No words are needed. Each person moves with the certainty of nightly ritual. The soft thud of bedding unrolled, the metallic chime of cooking utensils being gathered, the contented sighs of camels kneeling. These sounds form a lullaby more soothing than any music. You stand still for a moment, watching the light fade. From the highest dune crests, feeling the day's journey settle into your muscles like warm sand sinking through an hourglass. The fire springs to life with a whispered rush, its flames licking hungrily at the dry scrub wood before settling into a contented crackle. You watch as the light dances across the faces of your fellow travelers, familiar features softened by shadow, eyes gleaming like polished stones in the flickering glow. The fire's warmth reaches you in gentle waves, each pulse of heat carrying the resinous scent of juniper and the earthier perfume of camel dung fuel. One by one, the tents rise like pale mushrooms after rain. Their cloth walls billow slightly in the evening breeze, catching the firelight and casting swaying golden patterns across the sand. You run your hand along the fabric of your own shelter, feeling the tightly woven fibers, slightly rough from desert winds, yet still smooth as a well-handled coin. The ropes anchoring it hum with tension, vibrating faintly as they resist the wind's persistent tugging. Near the fire, a merchant prepares the evening meal. The rhythmic chopping of onions mixes with the sizzle of fat in the pan, a domestic symphony that seems almost miraculous in this vast emptiness. The aromas bloom outward: toasted cumin, melting lamb fat, the sudden bright tang of crushed garlic, each set distinct yet blending harmoniously with the wood smoke. Your stomach murmurs appreciatively, not with urgency, but with quiet anticipation. Camels form a living wall around the camp, their long shadows stretching and shrinking as they shift position. One groans deeply as it settles for the night, the sound vibrating through the ground beneath you. Their breath comes in warm huffs, visible in the cooling air, carrying the grassy scent of their day's grazing. Occasionally, a contented sigh ripples through the group, as if they too are relishing this moment of rest. Someone begins to hum a wandering tune without beginning or end. The melody intertwines with the clinking of spoons against bowls, the soft rustle of fabric as people settle cross-legged around the fire. No one speaks much. The shared fatigue has created a comfortable silence where words seem unnecessary. When someone does speak, their voice emerges softened, rounded at the edges by weariness and warmth. You accept a bowl of stew, its heat seeping into your palms. The first spoonful bursts across your tongue-rich broth, tender meat, the earthy sweetness of slow-cooked carrots. As you eat, you notice how the firelight transforms ordinary objects. A copper ladle becomes a molten sun. A water jug's curved side reflects the flames like a miniature burning city. Your own hands glow as if lit from within. The meal concludes. As quietly as it began, bowls are rinsed with precious little water, the sound of swirling liquid followed by the dull clunk of stacked pottery. The fire, now fed with slower burning logs, settles into a steady glow. Its light no longer leaps and dances but pulses gently, like the slowing heartbeat of the day. You rise with a quiet stretch, feeling each muscle protest, then relax in turn. The night air has grown crisp, carrying the faint metallic tang of the stars now blazing overhead. Your breath forms fleeting clouds as you exhale, each one catching the firelight for an instant before vanishing into the dark. The camp has completed its transformation, no longer a traveling caravan but a temporary village, a tiny island of light and warmth in the sea of desert night. As you duck into your tent, the fabric whispers close behind you, muffling the outside world into a comforting murmur. The ground beneath your bedding still holds traces of the day's warmth, welcoming you like an old friend. Your toes uncurl slowly inside your leather boots, like roots loosening their grip on dry earth. One by one, you work them free, first the left, then the right, feeling the cool night air rush in to soothe the warmth trapped there all day. The supple leather sighs as it relaxes, releasing the memory of countless steps taken across shifting sands. A deep breath fills your lungs as you begin unwinding the cloth wrapped around your waist. The fabric whispers against itself, each layer unfolding with a soft hiss until it pools at your feet like liquid shadow. Your skin remembers the sun's touch, shoulders still warm beneath your tunic, forearms tingling slightly where the light found them most. You kneel on your sleeping mat, the woven reeds pressing familiar patterns into your knees. The position feels ancient, reverent, as if generations of merchants have performed this same nightly ritual in the same quiet posture. Your hands rise to the clasp at your throat, fingers moving without conscious thought. The metal releases with a quiet click, warm from resting against your pulse point all day. As your outer robe slides from your shoulders, you feel lighter somehow, not just from the absence of weight, but from the shedding of the day itself. The garment carries the scent of your journey, sun-baked wool, the faint musk of your own skin, traces of cinnamon from the bales you carried. You fold it carefully, smoothing invisible wrinkles as if tucking away the daylight hours themselves. Now comes the unraveling of your headscarf, the slow unwinding of cloth from hair. Each loop reveals skin that hasn't tasted air since morning, your scalp tingling as the tightness releases. The fabric slithers through your fingers like a desert snake returning to its burrow, leaving your hair to tumble free, still holding the shape of its binding. You stretch your neck from side to side, hearing the quiet pops as vertebrae realign. The muscles along your shoulders unknot themselves strand by strand, the tension melting like wax under a low flame. Your arms hang heavy at your sides, fingers limp, no longer needing to grip reins or adjust loads. When you finally lie back, the mat conforms to your shape with a soft crunch of dried grasses. The scent rises around you, sweet hay, and the faintest memory of river reeds from wherever it was woven months ago and miles away. You pull a woolen blanket over your body, its weight both comforting and confining in the way a child might imagine being swaddled by the night itself. Your eyelids grow heavy as the camp's sounds blur together, the last murmured conversation, the settling of animals, the occasional crackle from the dying fire. Each breath comes slower than the last, your ribs expanding with less urgency now. The stars wheel overhead, their light filtering through the tent fabric in faint pinpricks that dance across your closed eyelids. The earth beneath you seems to breathe in tandem, a slow, patient rhythm that has continued for eons before your arrival and will persist long after your departure. You float upon its surface like a leaf on a still pond, barely causing a ripple. In the great expanse of sand and stone, the boundaries between your body and the desert blur. Where does your warmth end and the grounds begin? Your breath merges with the night breeze. Your heartbeat syncs with the camels, slow chewing in the darkness. Thoughts float through your consciousness like wisps of cloud across a twilight sky, here for a moment, then dissolved by the gathering darkness. That unresolved trade negotiation from yesterday, it unravels like a dropped spool of silk thread, its loose ends disappearing into the sand. Tomorrow's mountain pass, its sharp edges soften, blurring into the haze of approaching sleep. The fire's dying embers paint faint red, patterns against your closed eyelids. With each slow blink, the afterimages linger a little longer, a visual echo of the day's last light. You notice your breathing has found its own rhythm, untethered from conscious control, rising and falling like the dunes themselves under the moon's passage. Memories of the day's journey replay in fragments, the crunch of gravel underfoot, the sway of the camel's gait, the play of sunlight on a distant rock formation. But these impressions lack their daytime urgency. They drift by without demanding attention, like merchandise glimpsed in a crowded bazaar that you needn't stop to examine. A distant nightbird calls 3 liquid notes that hang in the air before dissolving. Your mind tries briefly to identify the sound, but the thought slips away before it can form completely. The question of what creature made that noise seems suddenly unimportant, its answer buried under layers of gathering drowsiness. Your fingers twitch slightly against the blanket, tracing half-remembered patterns from the day's travels, the curve of a ceramic bowl handled in some distant market, the grain of wood from a merchant's stall, the cool smoothness of a coin passed palm to palm. But even these tactile memories fade as your hands grow still, their weight sinking deeper into the bedding. The night air carries whispers you can't quite decipher, the rustle of tent fabric, the shift of a camel's weight, perhaps the murmur of other travelers not yet asleep. These sounds blend together into a wordless lullaby, their meaning less important than their rhythm, their steady reassurance that the world continues turning even as you surrender to rest. Occasional thoughts still surface, a flash of some unfinished task, a flicker of tomorrow's plans, but they lack their daytime insistence. You watch them come and go with detached curiosity, as one might observe strangers passing in a foreign marketplace, feeling no need to follow or engage. The boundaries between memory, imagination, and reality soften like wax near a flame. That faint scent of jasmine, is it really drifting from someone's provisions, or is it the ghost of some long-ago garden visit? The warmth at your back, is it residual heat from the day's sun stored in the rocks, or the remembered comfort of a childhood? Blanket? The distinctions no longer seem to matter. Your awareness shrinks and expands in slow pulses, one moment focused on the tickle of a loose thread against your cheek, the next expanding to encompass the vast desert night stretching infinitely beyond. Your fragile shelter, The space between thoughts grows wider, more inviting, like oases appearing more frequently as you near journey's end. The last conscious observation floats through your mind. How strange that sleep should feel like both, sinking and floating, like being carried downward into soft sand while simultaneously rising upward into star-filled darkness. But even this realization slips away before you can examine it, leaving only the quiet certainty that the caravan will continue moving forward. Whether you're awake to witness it or not, the desert exhales a sigh that ripples through your tent. Fabric rustling like a ghost passing through silk. Your fingers, which moments ago still tingled with the memory of rope and rain, now lie utterly still. They no longer feel the rough weave of your blanket, nor the slight ridge where the sleeping mat meets sand. Breath comes without bidding in and out. In and out, each cycle longer than the last. The rhythm matches the distant pulse of camel. Hooves in your memory, fading with every repetition until you can't recall if you're hearing echoes or imagination. Firelight, patterns no longer dance behind your eyelids. The world has narrowed to a single point of awareness, perhaps the slow thrum at your temples, perhaps the distant call of a desert owl that might have been real or dreamed. Even this anchor begins to dissolve, its edges blurring like ink in water. The last conscious thought drifts through not words exactly, but the shadow of a feeling. Contentment that the caravan guards your rest, that the stars keep faithful watch, that the road will still be there when morning comes. Then this too unravels, leaving only the sweet, weightless void between breaths. Your final waking sensation is neither touch nor sound, but the quiet certainty of having been here before countless times, under countless stars, always surrendering to the same ancient darkness that welcomed merchants before you and will welcome those after. The knowledge comforts as consciousness finally slips away. The night folds around you like a merchant's most precious silk dark, impossibly soft and shimmering with half-formed impressions. The boundary between sleeping and waking dissolves like salt in warm broth, leaving only the gentle currents of imagination to carry you forward. Somewhere beyond conscious hearing, the camels sigh in unison, or perhaps it's just the wind playing through the ropes of your tent. The sound doesn't matter now. What remains is the rhythm, the slow undulation that rocks your consciousness like a ship on calm waters. In and out, the desert breathes for you now. The campfire's dying glow transforms behind your eyelids. One moment it's the lantern of a phantom caravanserai hovering in the distance. The next it's the glowing tip of a watchman's pipe. These images come and go without announcement, each more fleeting than the last, like half-remembered stories told by a fireside years ago. Your body has become part of the landscape, the rise and fall of your chest, mirroring distant dunes. Your fingertips cooling like stones relinquishing the day's heat. When a slight breeze finds its way through the tent flaps, you can't tell if it brushes your cheek or if you've become the air itself, flowing effortlessly between waking and dreaming. The occasional sounds of the night caravan no longer register as separate events. A camel's grunt becomes the creak of a ship's timber. The rustle of blankets transforms into the whisper of reeds along some long-forgotten riverbank. Even the scent of smoldering juniper wood shifts into the aroma of your childhood home's hearth. Or perhaps you only dream it does not. Time stretches and contracts in impossible ways. That faint ringing in your ears, Is it the caravan bells of tomorrow's journey already approaching, or yesterday's echoes lingering? The question floats away before you can grasp it, unimportant as a grain of sand in the Samarkand marketplace. Your limbs have forgotten their daytime roles, no longer walkers, no longer bearers of burdens. They exist only as gentle weights anchoring you lightly to the earth, even as your mind drifts like smoke toward the star-dusted sky. The division between body and desert blurs, your veins become wadis carrying life's water. Your breath the shamal wind that sculpts the dunes. The last distinct sensation is the blanket's weight across your chest, not heavy, but present, like a trusted hand resting there to confirm all is well. The caravan guards your sleep. The road continues whether you walk it or dream it. And with this certainty, even that final awareness fades into the dark. The desert night settles deeper into your bones with each passing moment. Your breath transforms into a caravan of its own each inhalation, a laden camel, cresting the dune of wakefulness. Each exhalation, that same camel kneeling to rest in the valley of dreams. The rhythm slows imperceptibly, like a merchant counting coins with drowsy deliberation, until you can no longer tell where one breath ends and the next begins. Your lungs expand with the quiet majesty of a silk banner unfurling in dawn's first breeze. The air tastes different, now cooler, somehow thicker with stories. It carries whispers of faraway mountain passes where snow still clings to rocky outcrops, of dense forests where pine needles cushion the footsteps of unseen creatures, of coastal villages where fishermen mend their nets by lantern light. All these places exist simultaneously in the breath you draw, layered like the rings of an ancient tree dot as you exhale. The day's last tensions unravel like a frayed rope finally giving way. Your jaw unclenches, though you don't remember it being tight. Your shoulders descend from some long-held position near your ears. Even your tongue rests heavy and still behind your teeth, no longer shaping words, but simply existing as another relaxed muscle in the darkness. The spaces between breaths grow wider, great vaulted chambers of silence where time loses all meaning. In these pauses, you float untethered from earthly concerns, suspended like a dust mote in a sunbeam. The next breath always comes, but never hurried, as if the desert itself has decided to breathe through you at its own eternal pace. Your diaphragm moves with the smooth undulation of sand dunes under moonlight. Each rise and fall carries you further from consciousness, deeper into that primal rhythm shared by all sleeping things. The hibernating bear in its cave, the rooted trees exchanging gases with the night air, even the patient rocks expanding and contracting with the day's temperature changes. You belong to this ancient chorus now. Occasionally, a deeper breath surprises you like a camel stumbling on loose stones. But even this disturbance quickly smooths back into the pattern. The night air cools your throat on its way down, warming slightly before leaving your body in a stream, barely perceptible against your upper lip. These subtle temperature shifts become your whole world, more real than any daytime concern. Your nostrils flare slightly with each intake, filtering the complex desert night, now the mineral tom of dew forming on rocks, now the ghostly memory of this morning's extinguished campfire, now something indefinable that might be the scent of stars themselves. These olfactory notes blend into a perfume more soothing than any apothecary's blend, each sniff drawing you deeper into repose. The muscles between your ribs release fully now, allowing your chest to rise and fall with liquid ease. You've become a bellows in some divine workshop, pumping not air but silence through your being. Your breath makes no sound, yet seems to harmonize with the distant nightjars calling to each other across the dunes, their cries spaced at the same intervals as your exhalations dot as sleep's tide rises. Your breathing patterns shift into something older, more instinctual. The measured daytime rhythm gives way to variable waves, sometimes two quick, shallow breaths, followed by a long, suspended pause. Other times a single deep draft that seems to last minutes. Your body knows these patterns from infancy, before merchants' worries, before Silk Road journeys, when sleep came as easily as sunset. Your final conscious breaths feel different, not yours exactly, but borrowed from the night itself. The air move through you like a benevolent spirit, pausing just long enough to warm itself before continuing its endless journey across continents. You've become merely one resting place on breath's eternal caravan route, a way station where atmosphere transforms momentarily before moving on dot. And when even this awareness fades, what remains isn't absence, but unity, your breath and the desert's breath as one continuous stream, your body and the night as one entity. The boundaries between self and world dissolved, like salt in the Dead Sea. The caravan of your consciousness has finally reached that distant oasis where waking and dreaming share the same water source. The celestial dome stretches above your tent like an unfurled scroll of lapis lazuli, its constellations rewriting themselves in silver ink as you watch through half-closed eyes. Vega's light filters through the worn tent fabric, its blue-white glow softened to something approaching tenderness, while Altair maintains its steady vigil farther east. The stars seem closer tonight, as if bending down to hear the whispered secrets of earthbound travelers. The Big Dipper pours its darkness across your eyelids in a slow, liquid motion, the ladle's contents spreading first as indigo ink, then transforming into midnight-hued silk, until the darkness becomes simply darkness pure and absolute. Nearby, the Pleiades cluster scatters across the sky like a broken strand of pearls from some celestial merchant's necklace, each star rolling across the vault of your consciousness in perfect time with your slowing pulse. A shooting star etches its brief passage across the heavens, and your drowsing mind interprets its path first as a scribe's quill signing some cosmic contract, then as a silver needle pulling thread through black velvet, finally becoming nothing more than light, then absence, then the memory of light. The metaphors come and go without your conscious bidding, each one softer than the last. The moon's glow seeps through your tent fabric with infinite patience, painting shapes that shift and transform as sleep claims more of your awareness. What first appears as a camel's eye becomes a copper coin, then a water stain, then simply light and shadow dancing their ancient dance across your field of vision. The transformations happen effortlessly, each new image less distinct than the one before. The North Star holds its position with the same steadfast reliability that guided generations of Silk Road travelers, Sogdian merchants reading fortunes. In its gleam, Buddhist monks orienting their prayers to its constant light, lost children clinging to its permanence in unfamiliar landscapes. Its light, Having traveled 680 years to reach your half-closed eyes, now watches over you with the same impartial gaze it has turned on countless dreamers before you. The Milky Way spreads across the heavens like an unrolled bolt of celestial gauze, its shimmering expanse defying all daytime comparisons. Is it more like the Chan and Silk Market at noon, or perhaps the Spice Bazaar in Samarkand? The questions dissolve before they fully form, leaving only the pure sensation of starlight on your RETINAS dot. As your eyelids grow heavier, the stars begin their nightly inventory, one counting the sleeping camels in your caravan, another tallying the remaining miles to Kashgar, a third whispering numbers in lost Bactrian. You try to follow their celestial accounting, but keep forgetting whether you're the merchant or the merchandise in this cosmic ledger. The constellations rearrange themselves into dream symbols without your conscious intervention. Cassiopeia, becoming an overturned spice cart. Orion's belt transforming into a perfect string of Turkmen beads. The Southern Cross manifesting as a wellhead at some forgotten oasis. Their meanings slip through your mental fingers like precious saffron strands, falling back into their container dot when a satellite crosses the starfield, an anachronism your sleeping mind effortlessly incorporates. It appears first as a particularly diligent firefly, then as a scrap of paper blown from celestial records, finally becoming simply the lantern of some late traveling merchant on an unseen parallel road. The question of its true nature floats away before you can grasp it. Unimportant as a single grain of sand in the Taklamakan, the moon has moved, though you never saw it travel. Its silver light now falls across your chest like the finest chainmail, each link alternately resembling a coin from a successful trade, a scale from a mythical fish, a teardrop from a homesick traveler. The metaphors multiply, then fade, as language itself becomes unnecessary in this liminal space between waking and dreaming. One by one, the stars begin extinguishing, or perhaps it's your awareness of them dimming. The last pinprick of light you perceive might be Sirius bidding farewell, or a watchman's lantern in distant Turfan, or an ember from tonight's fire revived by some errant breeze. In the end, it matters not at all, simply the final neuron firing before sleep claims you completely. The darkness that remains is not empty, but full pregnant with all the unremembered dreams of countless merchants who camped beneath these same stars. Their whispered stories blend with yours as consciousness finally dissolves completely, leaving only the infinite expanse of the desert night. The desert night works its quiet alchemy upon your waking mind, each grain of memory softening and dissolving like salt in warm broth. The day's journey, its minor hardships and unexpected wonders alike, loses its sharp edges as sleep's tide rises, the details eroded by the gentle abrasion of approaching unconsciousness. Your muscles complete their final surrender, each group relinquishing its daytime tension in turn. Your toes uncurl like fern fronds relaxing at dusk, the arches of your feet flattening slightly against the sleeping mat. Your knees sink deeper into the bedding, mirroring the way camels settle there, weight into warm sand. Your spine aligns itself with some ancient underground river's course, the vertebrae stacking effortlessly as if guided by invisible hands. The body remembers what the conscious mind forgets, how to melt completely into the earth's embrace. Caravan's daytime sounds transform into fragments of dreams without your notice. A camel's grunt becomes your grandfather's chuckle, echoing across years. The tinkling of bells morphs into the music box of your childhood home. The rustling canvas whispers lullabies in your mother tongue, though you can't recall learning the words. These transformations happen at the edges of awareness, seamless and unquestioned. Your remaining daytime thoughts drift through your mind like unattended merchandise in a bustling market. That unfinished negotiation in Khotan floats by, its details blurred. The strange blue pottery you saw in Turpin's market surfaces briefly, its glaze catching imaginary light. Tomorrow's mountain passage looms momentarily before receding. Each concern is automatically wrapped in layers of mental silk and placed on a shelf labeled Morning, where they'll wait patiently for your return. The desert wind composes its nightly symphony just beyond conscious hearing. The first movement features tent fabric fluttering like pigeon wings taking flight. The second brings the distant skittering of sand across stone, 1,000 tiny percussion instruments playing in unison. The third incorporates your own exhale into the composition, your breath joining the harmony without effort. The melody needs no translation. It speaks directly to your sleeping bones in a language older than words. Your skin begins forgetting its boundaries in the darkness. Where does wrist become night air? Where does cheekbone merge with pillow? Where do you end and the desert night begin? The questions form and dissipate like mist over an oasis pond. Their answers unimportant now. Time's measurement becomes meaningless. In this suspended state, was that blink 1 second or 1 hour? Did the night guard just change shifts? Or is your memory playing tricks? Has the moon actually moved, or are your eyes deceiving you? The sand in time's hourglass flows both directions. Simultaneously, here at sleep's threshold, your physical possessions lose their daytime significance one by one. The silver coin tucked under your pillow is now just a cool weight against your scalp. The ledger book becomes merely a rectangular shadow at the edge of vision. Your boots stand empty by the tent flap, simple leather vessels waiting for tomorrow's journey. Their utilitarian purposes fade into pure sensory existence, textures without meaning, shapes without function. The very names of things dissolve like sugar cubes in mint tea. Is this a blanket or a cloud against your skin? Is that sound the wind or distant water? Are you still a merchant, or have you become a child again? Language itself becomes unnecessary weight, the final ballast to release before complete surrender. Your last waking emotion isn't a thought, but a physical sensation. A thought, a physical sensation. A last waking emotion isn't a thought, but a physical sensation. A thought, a physical sensation. Quiet expansion behind your ribs, as if your heart has grown too large for its bony cradle. It might be contentment from today's safe passage, or anticipation of tomorrow's unknown road, or simply the body's chemical sigh before sleep. In this moment, the distinction matters not at all. The sand has nearly finished its nocturnal work sifting, smoothing, softening all sharp edges of consciousness. What remains is but a single thread of awareness, the fading taste of tonight's tea on your tongue, the comforting weight of one hand resting atop the other, the sound of your next breath, beginning deep in your diaphragm. Then even these final sensations dissolve into the waiting darkness, and the desert claims another dreamer. The last fragile thread of consciousness stretches thin as a caravan trail, vanishing into the horizon's haze. Your body has become part of the desert's great tapestry, woven seamlessly into its moon-washed sands, its whispering breezes, its patient stones that hold centuries of stories in their silent embrace. The boundaries between earth and sky blur now with neither effort nor resistance, like ink spreading on damp parchment, until no edges remain. Your breathing has slowed to match the stately pace of the stars, journey across the heavens each inhalation, spanning lifetimes, each exhalation crossing forgotten kingdoms. The night air moves through you without obstacle, as if your ribs have become mere suggestions of form in the darkness. Somewhere beyond naming, your pulse echoes the distant thrum of camel hooves moving through tomorrow's dawn, or perhaps it's yesterday's caravan you hear. Time has folded its map for the night, rendering all directions equally valid and equally unimportant. The final sensory impressions come now as gentle brushstrokes on the canvas of your awareness. Your left eyelid rests ever so slightly heavier than the right, their combined weight both comfort and command. A single grain of sand trapped in the blanket's weave presses its tiny story into your shoulder, its presence noted, then released. The taste of starlight lingers on the back of your tongue, that peculiar metallic sweetness, like remembered pomegranates from a childhood garden. Your thoughts unravel with the quiet inevitability of a silk thread slipping from a spindle, each rotation slower than the last until motion ceases entirely. The road remains. You know this without knowing. The stars continue their vigil. This certainty needs no confirmation. You are still here, somewhere between the weight of your body and the lightness of your spirit, between the desert's embrace and the sky's infinite welcome. Then even these final anchors release their hold, not with drama, but with the naturalness of sunset giving way to twilight. The road waits. The stars watch. You are simply gone into dreams. The world beyond your resting place continues its quiet movements, though you need no longer bear witness. The lead camel shifts its weight with a soft grunt, its long lashes fluttering against cheeks roughened by desert winds. A night watchman passes your tent, his footsteps whispering across packed earth before fading into the darkness. The fire, now mere embers, cracks once a final punctuation mark on the day's story. Your belongings rest where you left them, the half-empty water skin bulging slightly against its leather ties, your boots standing sentry by the tent flap, the merchant's ledger closed, but not locked. These things will wait with the patience of stones for morning's return. The road itself stretches east and west, undisturbed by your temporary absence, its sands recording the passage of other travelers, other dreams. The stars pivot in their ancient dance, unconcerned with who watches or who sleeps. The same constellations that guided you here now shepherd your unconscious mind. The North Star, a fixed point in the chaos of dreams, the Milky Way, a shimmering path through the landscape of sleep. The night cradles you as it has cradled countless wanderers before, making no distinction between those who walk its paths and those who dream them. Your little finger twitches once, a final earthly gesture, before going perfectly still. The muscles around your eyes relax completely, erasing the last vestiges of daytime squints against sun and sand. Your jaw unclenches by millimeters, allowing your lower face to reshape itself into the softness of infancy. The temperature of your skin begins matching the Night air no longer radiating the day's heat, but cooling to match your surroundings. Your hands lie open like unfurled scrolls, their lines and calluses rendered meaningless in the darkness. The space between your eyebrows smooths as the last tension evaporates, leaving your forehead as untroubled as a desert pool at dawn. Your breathing has become a self-sustaining rhythm, no longer requiring your attention or effort. The air moves through you as effortlessly as wind through canyon walls in through nostrils that flare slightly with each intake, out through lips that part just enough to release the warmed breath. Your diaphragm rises and falls with the regularity of waves on some distant shore you've never seen but somehow remember. The final images come, unbidden, a caravan of dream camels cresting a dune made of starlight, their shadows stretching backward into yesterday. A marketplace where the scales always balance perfectly, where the silks never fray, where the spices remain forever pungent. A road that needs no walking, only the pleasure of its presence. Your name, your occupation, your purpose, all these dissolve like salt in water. What remains is simpler, the rise and fall of your chest, the occasional flicker beneath your eyelids, the perfect neutrality of limbs that neither resist nor cling, the last conscious thought, if it can be called a thought at all, is neither word nor image but a color, that particular blue where desert sky meets distant mountains at twilight. It spreads across your mind's horizon, deepening gently until it becomes nothing and everything all at once.